everyone, and today we're going to be taking a look at what if Japan created an empire. So last time I did what if China created an empire, and that did really good. Like, it got 58 views in less than an hour. Now it's at 59 views in 3 days. But who cares? It got so many views. So today we're going to be doing what if Japan created an empire, alright? And the first thing that happens here, a dictator comes to power, and in a in a span of a few hundred years, the dictator is kind of immortal unless he's shot. So he establishes a good relation with the U.S. so they don't completely steamroll over them when they're trying to invade other countries. So the first thing that happens here is pretty sensible. Japan actually creates like an alliance with North Korea. We're gonna be coloring them here, which creates the alliance automatically with these two countries. But we're not gonna be coloring them right now as it's very distracting. Anyways, I'm gonna try to use this light blue as it just like looks much better than the dark blue. So tell me in the comments what it looks like and which one I should use in the future. So whatever, let's start and stop dilly-dallying. So the first country they decide to attack is New Zealand. Yes, out of all the countries that target New Zealand, first of all, they are gonna be so easy to conquer. I mean, not that easy, since the Navy, Japan doesn't have the strongest one ever. Not the weakest, but not the strongest. And they're gonna have to get all the way over there to all the way over here through so many countries, so many islands, and then conquer this chunk of land. It's not the easiest task, but it's doable. Also, another reason is that they want to target Australia in the near future. So, New Zealand. So after a buildup of navy, we see a military landing over here. Of course, New Zealand got the news from its spies, whatever spies they have. So they got a little bit of news earlier, but most of them still did not believe there was an invasion coming, as they thought Japan was a good country. At least they were. Now after researching, New Zealand's military is not the strongest. New Zealand is not really that strong. It's ranked 86 out of 145 countries, I think, who have a military. It basically does not have an air force. Well, Japan is one of the top 10 countries, so they are easily invading the top part of New Zealand. I think the majority lives over here. I'm not sure, but that's what I saw in a video when I was researching about New Zealand, researching. So, Japanese troops quickly take over the northern part of New Zealand, but there is a holdup over here as all of New Zealand's troops have already retreated and came at, let's say, this one point over here, which Japan takes advantage of, as they don't have to do much except send the military navy that was already over here, and they're sending a little bit more all the way over here, cut out connections, start taking over this land like it's nothing, getting resources from around the land. The military device, they try to push back a little bit, and at the cost of them getting completely run over. And this is what's left of them. This part just decides to surrender as they know there's no point fighting. This part holds a little bit of longer, but there is no holding up. So New Zealand is now no more and is now New Japan. And we have them eyeing Australia, which is readying up its troops all around its corners. And this part is gonna be quite strategic. Because I said so. And basically Australia's doing their military around here, and then around the border. Okay, no, not that long. I don't know why it has a feature so big. But basically what I drew out around the border, so Japan does not use the same tactic as they did with New Zealand, cutting out over here. So how does Japan make the strategic landing on Australia? They don't! They completely forget about Australia and decide to make a landing in Sri Lanka. Yes, unexpected plot twist. Why? Because Sri Lanka is in ruins and they don't want Australia to think they're coming for them. Since Sri Lanka is not really anybody's allies, nobody really cares. Only good has come. Australia thinks their spies were mistaken and withdraws a little bit of military around their borders, which is exactly what Japan's evil master plan was master planning. Alright. So, after they withdraw their troops, the least troops are over here. Remember what I said about this being a strategic point? Well, this is why. This is the first place in Australia to get completely destroyed. And then after that, Australia just freaks out, and they rush over here. And as I said, the military was coming all the way over here. They did not yet make it, but now they did. So they land over here where the Australian troops are not centered at all, which is really, really bad for them, as now they have to fight so many fronted wars. And it's not really easy, because this, even bigger actually, this whole chunk is like basically desert. Also, I just learned today desert is with a single S and not a double S, but whatever. I just knew that today. It is not hard. It is very hard to travel because instead of just like a normal army going straight, they have to go boom, 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 and then they have to go all the way around over here. While basically what the Japanese army has to do is land here, take out the coast, which will suffocate Australia. So Australia is in a pretty bad situation, but they are a better military country than New Zealand. They have a good amount of air force. So this is what the things look like for Australia. We have a counter invasion in progress, but that is not paid much attention to as it is a stalemate everywhere. Now this is where New Zealand comes in. Since the troops are like over here somewhere, New Zealand decides, which is now New Japan, to invade over here. So the troops that were coming here have to have half diverted over here, pushing back this invasion. And what would you expect? It's a dummy invasion. There was no invasion except for a few thousand troops. Citizens from New Zealand, dressed in Japanese troop style. What does that cost Australia? It cost them all of this coast. And the Australian people are now freaking out as they know this is gonna be their demise. After this huge incident and chaotic events, there were a total of around 20 people killed. So, boom, boom, boom. New Japan takes over this area. Also, if I sound like this is actually happened or is gonna happen, no, it's not. Please don't think it's gonna happen. Please, it's not gonna happen anytime soon. in like maybe 5 centuries, but not right now. Anyways, this looks really bad for Australia. And do you know what makes it worse? They threaten South Korea that if they do not join, they are gonna be next people who are gonna be attacked, resulting in South Korea joining in. And after Japan resolves the issues with North Korea and China about they're not plotting to attack them, South Korea has a few US troops in them, which also sends a lot of support. Australia is now doomed in this war. Their coastlines completely get taken, and they are debating about whether to surrender or not. These two coasts try to meet but fail as they get pushed back a little from the troops. And their supplies are starting to run low, of course, and they're fighting from their homeland, so it's better for them. Except that it's not. The troops that were centered in Sri Lanka have arrived over here now. And Australia just cannot keep up with so many fronts. So what happens is when the Australian troops are fighting above this line, all the troops from over here collect up here, resulting in them getting completely pushed back to where the almost original positions of when this war started with Australia. It is even going worse for Australia now, because you know what? What is happening? These area get taken back. This area is almost getting taken back. And this area gets taken back. Do you know why? If you've guessed it, you're a true Sigma. Because all of the troops that have been centered there are now invading in Australia, and Australia is nowhere near where they should be. They're far off fighting other unimportant key locations, which are unimportant because they're unimportant. They leave here, which gets completely taken back, so the hassle here was completely unnecessary for Australia. They tried to hold them but completely unsucceed, meeting up with the troops over here. And now it's basically just a matter of the time before they get completely taken over. It's a slow process because Australia has a lot of deserts and their military is decent, but eventually with the combined force of South Korea, they fall. So the Japanese Empire looks like it's coming back, and this is what it looks like. So they decide to split land with South Korea a little. So let me show you the borders. They give that much land to South Korea, but they did not help too much, so they don't get too much land. But it's some land. South Korea has, I guess, grown for the first time in about 2 centuries or something. So this is coming to the end of the war of the Japan, but they still want to have a little bit more land, but near their motherland. And do you know what they do? They attack Russia. Yes, out of all the people, they attack Russia. And in this case, the United States also decides to join. No guys, I'm just kidding. All they do is invade North Korea, which is not big of a deal, as the dictators of Japan and China are exchanging military and being happy and all. And Japan does a help to South Korea to invade North Korea. And with the combined force and remember, this is a few years after the invasion of Australia and New Zealand. And North Korea pretty quickly gets swept over as they do not have whatsoever advanced military, and they have to like stop invading over here as Kim Jong-un is sending a few nuclear warheads and missiles all over the place. So it's pretty much the end of the war. Let's look at the peace treaty between North Korea, Japan, and South Korea. So what happens now is that Japan gets this small piece of land over here as they only contributed a little bit, while South Korea did most of the hard work and Japan got free land for free. Well, North Korea is very small now. There's a straight line cutting over here because that's what the war looks like. There was just like a completely straight line. They drew a straight line. Everybody's surprised that they let North Korea live, but that was Japan creating an empire in a nutshell. So let's take an overall view. They first captured New Zealand, then captured Australia, in which they gave this land to South Korea. They also captured Sri Lanka, and then they captured a little bit of North Korea. And the reason US didn't invade because they had a good relation with the US before the war. And yeah, and most of them weren't big US allies. Sri Lanka nobody cared about. North Korea, US was actually happy. New Zealand had good ties with the US, but Japan had better. Same with Australia. And when South Korea got involved, US just didn't want to get involved. They were tired of World War II. So that is the overview. Consider subscribing to the channel, and I will put another channel in the description which is also pretty great. If you don't check it out, just click off the video as that's all I'm going to be yapping about now. And yeah, that's it. Just go check the description please and subscribe to the channel. Like the video if you like the video, and bye bye.